Assalamu alaikum, myself Mayim. Today I am going to explain you about how to interface LCD with a microcontroller using the Hex Keypad. First of all, we are simply going to see the LCD header file, how to make the LCD header file, and then further we are going to use LCD with the Hex Keypad. So the first thing is here that what is LCD? LCD is basically output device which is connected to the microcontroller, and like hex keypad and 7 segment, they have our out control how to deal with it. They also get the data in the form of hex. Further on, LCD control unit. So what is the LCD control unit? LCD controller is responsible for operation LCD such as movement of cursor, display screen, clear screen, printing data, and so on. So, first of all, the LCD communication mode. LCD communication mode is in the form of 8-bit or 4-bit. LCD 16 cross 4, basically LCD have this 8-bit data here. So we can use the 4-bit or we can use the 8-bit data here. Further on, LCD interfacing here. In the LCD is used to select between read or write operation, or you can either send commands or receive the data from the here. So how to include the header file and so on. So basically the include of header file in the AVR is simple. When we are writing a code, here is the LCD here command, then we right click here, and this is the add command here, and new item, by clicking the new item we can select the header file here. And now we are forming this header file here. So basically what inside this header file. First of all, whenever we are going to define any new header file, we have to define this indefine and define LCD things, and this header file close thing. This is a header file is closed now. Further, this is a delay command as we already do give them whenever we have to perform some kind of delay in our code. Further, there are some things which we have to be globally defined. So we define like that. Like RS is always our RPO, RW for B1, and E enable for B2. And similarly for the control data we use port B, and for the data we use C. And similarly for the LCD data, when where LCD data goes from 8-bit data, we are using the port C. And for the LCD controls, we are going to use the port B here. Further on, there are 4 functions which we define here. LCD initialize. This LCD initialize clears the screen and clear data which whatever we are providing. Further on, this is LCD data here, which transfer LCD data. If any command we have to be deal, we want to go from line 1 to line 2, or we have to move our cursor from 16, as there are 16 portions here in the LCD. So if for example I have to move from 5 to 8 or 5 to 6, then I'm going to use the LCD command. Further, for the LCD data string here and so on. So LCD initialize. So when LCD initialize that everything gets 0, I'm going to get 2 lines here, that we have LCD 2 lines are going to be used. LCD screen is clear, cursor is blinking, and cursor is on the first line. So that means I am going to a clear new screen here. Like in our calculators, there are 16 cross I'll do use mostly. So we can see that there is a cursor moving from this to black cursor like, and now we can also move from 1 to 2 or 2 to 1 line. So this is how this works. Further here, this is the LCD command. In the LCD command, there are 3 controls: RS, RW, and R enable. Set, write, enable course, and this is how this so on. So this is going to be control here, that I am going to provide whatever the command is controlled here, the LCD control it and set it. Further on, LCD data here. So in the LCD data, we provide the data to an LCD controls here. In this, we are going to use the command link here. So we enable the LCD and when we off the LCD controls. In there, we only enable, similarly, we enable LCD and get data, and LCD gets off. Similarly, the pattern here, LCD data string. This is basically the main thing where the data goes here. Now, in this is our task one here, that we have to display something. So, LCD header file is declared, and the further things which we already defined in our LCD. LCD initialize, then this is data, LCD data string initialize. The name Mariam is defined here, like, yeah, this how going to work. If I'm going to show it you on this one, let me put code inside it. You can see that. No, name bar display. No, this cursor is going to be backward. Yeah, just like that, cursor is moving here. So these commands are here. Now further, let's go into the second task, that is Hex Keypad Calculator here. So that, as I already told you before about the LCD, not LCD, Hex Calculator with the 7 segment. So this is the same thing here, nothing's changed, but the data thing has changed. That when we have to clear the 7 segment, we just write the value equal to 0. But here we have to be LCD initialize thing. Further, when we have to do this thing, here like I have to do the this data string here. This displaying thing is different, that there I am going to form an array and I then goes that this is the hex form of this data, but here in this LCD data string we have to this I2A thing, that whatever the thing k is stored in an array and number of characters are defined above of B array, and then 10 is that I have to define it in the decimal form, not in the hex, binary, or whatever form it is in. It's going to be converted into a decimal form, that is 10 ratio here. And further things perform the similarly. So basically, I'm now going to upload the code here, desktop from Hex calculator with the LCD here. So now this is going to be work here. You can see that this 9 into 4, 9 fours are 36, like that. So this is the Hex Keypad Calculator here, and this is all for today. Thank you. Now let me show you the task which I perform on the this here. This is the LCD display task here.
ये एलसीडी का कोड इस वक्त रन हो रहा है, इस वक्त इसकी बैकलाइट भी ऑन है, उसके ऊपर
कर्सर भी मूव कर रहा है,
कर्सर भी मूव कर रहा है इसके ऊपर,
ये इसका कंट्रास्ट सेट भी हो रहा है,
कंट्रास्ट भी चेंज हो रहा है इसका।
अच्छा, कर्सर की मूवमेंट दोबारा देख लें। पहले ये कर्सर है हर इसके बाद, अब ये इसके एस पे आ जाएगा, लेफ्ट शिफ्ट होगा कर्सर। ये
देखिए कर्सर इस पर लेफ्ट शिफ्ट हो गया है, एस से आगे था, अब एस के ऊपर।
कंट्रास्ट भी सेट हो रहा है इसके, और बैकलाइट ऑन हो भी रही है,
कंट्रास्ट भी सेट हो रहा है।
ये हमारा कोड है इसका। यहाँ पे ये हमारी मेन फाइल है जिसमें हम लोगों ने सिंपल अपने जो हेडर फाइल बनाई है उसको दोबारा इंक्लूड किया है, इनिशियलाइजेशन के फंक्शन को कॉल किया है, स्ट्रिंग के फंक्शन को कॉल किया है, और कमांड को जो है वो उसको डिस्प्ले पे टेक्स्ट लाइट में मूव करवाने के लिए कमांड के फंक्शन को कॉल किया, और ये हमारी हेडर फाइल है। ये